in a box. You know, it's hard to believe all the stuff that he had done to her and survived. You know.
Back in Red Bluff, Janice Hooker leaves her husband and goes to the police.
Janice Hooker was extremely emotional, and she was obviously very, very scared.
But when Janice first tells her story, she is surprised by the response.
I was very skeptical. You know, if somebody starts telling you about keeping somebody in a wooden box underneath their waterbed for virtually years on end, that's very difficult for me to believe.
It's extremely hard for people to understand how such a thing could occur. And the reason it's difficult for us is because we don't have a frame of reference. We don't have any experience with this type of person, this type of victim, or this type of crime.
The Red Bluff police contact Colleen, who confirms everything Janice has told them. Armed with Janice's confession and Colleen's statement, on August 22nd, 1984, police arrest Cameron Hooker.
I explained to him that he was being arrested for the sex crimes, the kidnapping, and false imprisonment. And I really expected that he would question some of those things. And he was just, yeah, okay, no problem. He had very, very little reaction at all.
Police search the Hooker residence and confiscate a number of items. But nothing that proves Colleen was held there against her will. They are unaware that since the arrest, Janice Hooker has returned to her husband. And under his orders, she destroys everything in the home that can be connected to Colleen.
It's very difficult for people to see Janice as a victim because we equate the word victim with a lack of responsibility for actions taken. She, in fact, was a perpetrator. She was an offender. But she was also a victim of Cameron Hooker. That doesn't mean she's not responsible for any criminal action she may have taken.
But Janice doesn't get rid of everything.
Christine McGuire and myself were in my office working and looking through some of the various magazines that he had, and this negative falls out. And I picked it up and put it to the light, and we discovered that it was a picture that Cameron had taken of the actual contract that he had Colleen signed.
The district attorney's office finally has the proof they need to take the case to trial. And Cameron Hooker is indicted on 10 counts of kidnapping and rape.
We were able to bring into evidence at the trial whips, chains, the stretcher, sensory deprivation, head boxes. We had the slave contract. He kept Colleen in a box under his waterbed for a number of years. We were able to reconstruct that, put that in the center of the courtroom, and it sat there every day during the course of the trial.
Janice Hooker agrees to testify against her husband in exchange for immunity. But the prosecution knows their case ultimately rests on the testimony of Colleen Stan.
Colleen appeared to the jury to be very calm. She didn't look like or sound like she was out for revenge. There were times when she would appear a bit surprised when she described her own behavior. She didn't quite understand why she did certain things or why certain things happened, but she left it to the experts to explain to the jury why certain things happened.
Experts like Dr. Chris Hatcher.
Dr. Chris Hatcher, he was a clinical psychologist. He was expert in captivity cases, and he was able to kind of pull everything together for the jury, explain why it was that despite the appearance that she was free to come and go, she really was never free to come and go. Cameron Hooker, what he did was he tortured her, he whipped her, he beat her, he cut off all light, all sound. He did this over a period of time, and he got her to the point where he could, in essence, break her and coerce her into a set of behaviors.
He helped me to understand that I didn't do anything wrong.
On October 18th, 1984, Cameron Hooker takes the stand in his own defense.
He told the jury flat out that he did kidnap her, and he kidnapped her because he did want a sex slave. But then at some point in time, he decided to set her free, but she chose to remain with him because he said by this time she had fallen in love with him. And he said that the sexual acts that he had with Colleen were in fact consensual and not rape.
His strategy doesn't work, and Cameron Hooker is found guilty on all 10 counts. On November 22nd, 1984, Cameron Hooker is sentenced to more than 100 years in prison for kidnapping, sex crimes, and for using a knife during a kidnapping.
Judge Clancy Knight, who presided over the trial, told the public at the time of sentencing that he was going to sentence Cameron Hooker to the maximum possible because he said that he was the most dangerous psychopath he had ever come up against. He appears to be the exact opposite of what he really is, and that he would be a danger to women as long as he lives.
After the trial, Janice Hooker settles into a life of anonymity. She refuses to discuss her life with Cameron Hooker or crimes against Colleen Stan.
I don't really have good feelings towards Jan because I feel that even though I feel that she was also a victim, that she was free and she had choice. And I think that she could have made the choice to put an end to this way sooner than she did. You know, Jan could have saved all of us.
Cameron Hooker is scheduled for release sometime in 2022.
I definitely feel that he's a danger to society. I don't feel that he should ever be let out. He's not changed, but he does have a parole date, and I guess the only thing I can hope is that maybe they won't let him out.
On October 6, 1988, a man named Ken Wood arrives at the Walker, Michigan Police Department with a bizarre tale.
Ken Wood proceeded to tell me that his ex-wife had been involved in some homicides at a local nursing home.
Ken's ex-wife, Kathy Wood, is a nurse's aide at the Alpine Manor nursing home. Ken tells police she confessed to helping murder 5 patients with a fellow nurse's aide during the winter of 1987. Authorities remain silent as he pours out the details of his life with Kathy. After a short courtship with 20-year-old Ken Wood, Kathy, age 17, became pregnant, and the two were married right away. She gave birth to a daughter in February of 1980.
As a new mother, Ken is really struck by the fact that she can't seem to bond with the child. She's irritated by the child. She won't spend time with her.
Kathy withdrew and refused to do anything around the house.
And she just basically becomes like a shut-in in his own house.
Ken hoped that a new job at the Alpine Manor nursing home would be a positive experience for her.
There was a core group of nurses' aides there that seemed to